Well, I've waited 4 years to come here. This is Albert Park in Middlesbrough, and I've come to see the statue of Stanley Hollis. I've kept the image on vertical because I think it brings out the best in the statue. Stanley Hollis was Victoria Cross. He was Company Sergeant Major in the 6th Green Howards. And he won the only Victoria Cross to be awarded on D-Day, 6th of June 1944. And he led one of the landing craft ashore, D Company, in the first wave of troops landing on Gold Beach. My dad was in one of the other landing craft, but Stan Hollis was one of the leaders on that day, and other days in fact. Stories abound about Stan Hollis, but this statue was only erected in 2015, many years after his exploits, but a well-deserved memorial. One of the stories about Stan is when they were coming in on the landing craft on D-Day, he spotted what he thought was a pillbox on the shore, and he grabbed hold of a stripped down Lewis gun and give this pillbox a full pan of bullets to keep the enemy heads down. And just as he was getting off the landing craft, he picked the gun up to discover that it was white hot and really seriously burnt the palm of his hand. And that was the most painful wound he incurred during the entire war, apparently. Further inland, the troops were held up by another pillbox firing at everybody, and Stan bravely rushed up to the pillbox, zigzag, fired his gun into the slit, and they followed it up with a couple of hand grenades, and thereby disarmed the pillbox and took several German prisoners. And that action saved the lives of many of his comrades following up behind him, and it was for that action that he was awarded, as I say, the only Victoria Cross on D-Day. And during the Second World War, 3 Green Howards were awarded the Victoria Cross. There's another good story about Stan. When they were further inland, they were going up a lane and they were blocked off by a couple of Germans firing at them, and he decided he was going to throw a hand grenade at them, and he put his hand in his pocket and to pull out what he thought was a hand grenade, but it turned out to be 2 socks and a shaving brush. Anyway, he grabbed another hand grenade from one of the guys next to him and threw it at these 2 Germans. He watched the way they were operating, and when they bobbed down in reaction to the hand grenade rolling over at them, he ran after the hand grenade, only to realise that he'd forgotten to pull the pin out. But of course, because the hand grenade didn't go off, the Germans stayed down, so Stan Hollis ran up to them and shot them. And again, he paved the way for further forward movement of troops. What a great character he was. So that's Stan Hollis, 6th Green Howards. hero of D-Day. And there's a great book you can get on Stan Hollis if you're interested, and it's a really good coverage of D-Day and more. And it's written by Mike Morgan. So if you're interested, look it up. It's a good book, well worth having. And what a great stance they've managed to give Stan to that statue. We'll have one more close look up at his face before I move on. There's a Green Howard's badge on his shoulder. Thank you, Company Sergeant Major Stan Hollis. And in his hometown of Middlesbrough, nearby, after the war, he opened up a pub, and it was called the Green Howards. But Stan died in the early 70s. R.I.P. We salute you, sir.